Hello.
Hi. we don't know what we're doing.
I honestly don't have a clue what we're doing.
We thought we'd just start and see what poured out, so this will be interesting.
We've got a bit of a plan.
No, we've got a plan. It's just that we've been running around like headless chickens, and so we're doing so much. We're spinning so many plates that when we're sitting down to do this, it's like, what are we doing again? Because every day it's like that.
Yeah, we're having to sit and actually be like, right, compose ourselves before we record and figure out what we actually
just
want to say.
Just focus on one thing instead of 10 at once. But it has been a really eventful week. If you've not already, you should check out our new merch from all the discos.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So her handmade jewellery, Leopard Print Army, amazingness, 80s inspired.
I just love everything.
Festival vibes.
It's her vibe, but it's just so us.
Yeah,
you know,
it's brilliant. It's an amazing collaboration, and I love
it. I really love it.
So yeah, check that out, and we will have more merch coming very, very soon. Obviously, we've also got all the T-Mill stuff going on, and then on top of that, we've had the amazing interview with Mindvox Pod. So Claire Jacobs, who we've had on the podcast before as a single parent pessimist. So if you've not already, do go and listen to Mindvox Pod, because it's a brilliant interview, isn't it?
And she makes me cry.
She made it cry. Yeah.
It's not often the emotions get taken out of me, but it was an emotional one, and it was a really good conversation, and we had a great time chatting with her.
Yeah, and we look forward to collaborating with her again in future, and of course Rosie from Untangled as well, who put out the interview last week. So we look forward to further collaborations, because we are a community, and that's what's important.
Yeah, and it's just really great fun being on other podcasts.
Well, although slightly nerve-wracking, because
fun at the time, but then on reflection, shitting yourself, because it's like you don't have control of the editing and what's going out.
And all the times that I'm literally thinking out loud is how I exist, but then we can come back to it and go, can you take that bit out, because I'm talking complete nonsense, and knowing that they can just put it in is scary. But they both did really great jobs, so do go and listen to both of those.
Yes.
But let's get back to the plan. It's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's, one and all.
Love to all of you.
Love is all around us. Love is in the air. Valentine's, Galentines, whatever the hell you're doing, we are sending love, and we thought we would take the opportunity to have a little look at love and sex through the lens of ADHD. Obviously, we have talked in great depth about personal relationships in a previous episode, which number escapes me, but it's in there somewhere.
Numbers? What are they?
Yeah, several months ago that feel like a decade ago.
Yeah.
So for a more in-depth look at relationships, go to that episode. This is very specifically about kind of love, romance and sex. And shall we?
We might as well.
Yeah, let's do it.
ADHD as females, ADHD AF, ADHD as females, the podcast.
Hi, I'm Dawn.
Hi, I'm Laura, and we are ADHD AF. Seriously. We are two neurodivergent neighbours who moved to the same street at the same time, at the same age, with the same undiagnosed disability. What are the chances?
Since discovering the enormous impact ADHD has had on our lives and the horrifying numbers of missing undiagnosed females, it has become our mission to make some serious noise.
We want to use our voices to raise awareness, break the stigma, and share our experiences in the hope that they help others.
So join us for a chat, or as it's called up here in Aberdeen, a blether.
Trigger warning, we will be covering some really sensitive topics, so please do have a read of the description of each episode before listening.
It's important to note that we are not medical professionals. We're not therapists or coaches. We're not qualified to offer advice or support. What we will do is share our experiences alongside resources and information from professionals. We will talk over each other and we will go off topic and forget the point mid-sentence.
We are both assigned female at birth, which means that we can only speak from the experience of life as AFAB people. However, ADHD AF is an inclusive space. Whatever your gender, you are very welcome here.
Yes, you are.
ADHD as females, ADHD AF.
So, Valentine's Day.
Yes.
How do you feel about it?
It's a funny one because on the one hand, as ever, I am any excuse for a party.
Yeah.
You know, like summer finishes and I'm like, oh, it's nearly Halloween, and Halloween finishes and it's nearly Christmas. And everything goes like that in my brain, any excuse to celebrate something and have something to gear towards and plan. But then at the same time, what I notice, and obviously I can't think that far back, actually I can, the last 2 years, I've suddenly felt a lot of pressure, not leading up to it, because I will remember to get a card or make a card, and I will remember to make a reservation or whatever. But on the day, as ever, like Christmas Day or anything else, it can be, oh God, I don't want to say anticlimactic because I don't mean that. I do not mean that. But, you know, you feel a bit like, oh, perhaps that should have been more than it should. And then, yeah, I feel a bit stressed or disappointed. And it is just an enormous amount of pressure to kind of perform, isn't it? And for things to be perfect. And with perfectionism and RSD and all the rest of it, it can be really triggering, actually.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, Valentine's Day, it's a very societal thing, and there's a lot of pressure.
Well, it's a made-up thing to sell cards.
So it's a societal thing, so there's pressure, and I come in at a very different angle. I've spent most of my adult life single.
Yeah.
And I mean, there have been times I've been in relationships, and because I've not been in that many, I really enjoy Valentine's Day, and I do like to, you know, make a little bit of a fuss about it and stuff, just because when I'm in relationships, I'm really in them and I'm dedicated and I want to express that. But being single, there is that whole thing of just like, oh, here's me on my own, just reminding me that I don't have someone, and everyone around me is in love and I'm just sitting here watching from the sidelines. And it does make you feel a little bit shit about yourself, but I do try and remind myself that it's not all just a bed of roses, and relationships come with struggles. What you see on social media isn't always a true representation as to what's going on underneath. And I know that because I've been in that situation myself.
Yeah.
And so I have to remind myself that it's better to spend my Valentine's Day single than be in another unhappy, unhealthy, toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And regardless of what Valentine's Day says, just because you're on your own doesn't mean it's a bad thing. And just
you're better off on your own than you are in a toxic relationship.
Exactly.
And on top of that, just to add in, like obviously not diminishing how you feel about that and when you feel triggered by that, but also it's not just looking at other relationships and seeing that everyone has struggles. The people in the relationships are feeling pressure to compare and compete, or not compete, but you know what I mean, like
there is a level of
they look more romantic
though.
than me. They've had a better Valentine's Day than us. Am I doing enough? Am I enough? Are they that in love with me, etc.?
And especially with social media these days, everyone's trying to paint a picture of the perfect life and happy families and everything, and so there's an added pressure for everyone just to be, you know, I'm the most in love.
We're the most in love, we've had the best day, etc. But you know, you look at this pressure from both sides of the coin, and you realise that on top of that, we've got ADHD, which just makes every bloody thing more complicated. There's more intense emotions triggering, etc.
Forgetfulness
that leads to conflict, you know. Even in the last episode we were talking about my auditory processing disorder stressing me out on trains. Like, the APD also can cause problems in my relationship because I can mishear something that's been said, or I can misinterpret the tone of something that's been said. And then on top of that, with emotional dysregulation and RSD, which we've identified as kind of a bit like paranoia, on top 100%. Of a lack of self-worth, like there's minefields everywhere. Minefields everywhere? I don't mean that, do I? But you know what I mean.
Mines everywhere. in fields.
Anyway, so I found this article here from chad.org called Vexing Over Valentine's Day? ? Does Valentine's Day stress you out? We've both said yes.
Yeah.
For couples affected by ADHD, whether it's one partner or both who have the disorder, the symptoms of ADHD can affect every part of their relationship. Inattention, short-term memory deficits, and difficulties with time management can take a toll on a relationship. Anniversaries and groceries are forgotten. Lateness feels like a slight, and inattention seems like a lack of affection. Couples who address how ADHD symptoms affect them together, however, can find ways to strengthen their relationship. Couples affected by ADHD break up almost 2 times the rate as the general population. It then goes on to list, basically all of the above, how ADHD can cause relationship problems. And obviously, as I said before, we've addressed that in our relationship episode, where we talk about the imbalance. In that episode in particular, we sort of looked at how we accepted bad behaviour, put ourselves with people who didn't have our best interests at heart. And I think it's really interesting to know what Katie talked about in our interview with them 2 weeks prior about being able to identify neurodivergence in people by looking at the imbalance in their relationship and a lack of ability to spot red flags.
Mm-hmm. God, if I look back at relationships and...
Should we just not, though?
There's a couple of standout. I mean, there's only a couple, but certainly stand out, and the red flags being one of those things that it's just like they were there. They were all over the place, loud and clear. And looking back, it was so obvious.
Yeah.
But I put up with it, and I just shrugged them off and thought, well, and it does come down to a self-worth thing.
100%.
100%, because I look back and I look at how my self-worth was then, and I know that I was just like, well, I shouldn't put up with this.
Yeah.
But I just sucked it up because I didn't think I could do better. I didn't think I deserved better.
Yeah.
And I thought this was the best I could get.
But isn't it, so there's 2 things here, like, first of all, like it says in this article from Chad, is that we're always talking about this self-inventory, looking yourself in the eye and identifying how ADHD presents very uniquely in you and the struggles that poses. So in this article, it says that couples who address how ADHD symptoms affect them together can find ways to strengthen their relationship. Yeah. So it is about that communication. It's being honest enough with yourself, being brave enough to vocalize what your struggles are, and then being in a relationship that is supportive enough to work with you and hack, in inverted commas, those things to strengthen your relationship. And if you are in a relationship where you are not that supported, then that is a red flag.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if you're telling someone, I struggle in this area.
And they say, well, just pull your socks up and don't.
Yeah. And what you want is, I struggle in this area, and for them to say, well, how can I help you?
Yeah. How can we do this together?
Yeah.
And working together on that. The other thing that just sprung into my head was, I'd really love you to tell the story about going on a date. Because it just shows what a different place you are in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was on a date recently, and sorry for listening. He was a lovely guy, but we're just different people.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I hadn't been on the dating scene for a while. Mainly because I've been working on myself, like going through all this diagnosis process and stuff. I think it was important for me to concentrate on me, because I think in the past I would have just carried on dating and jumping it from, date to date, looking for
Fanny
something.
first.
Fanny first. It's never going to leave me, is it?
No, never. It's gold.
But yeah, it was 100% a validation thing. Like, it's almost like I was dating because I wanted to feel wanted and I wanted to feel loved. And as, cliche as this sounds, is it cliche? Is that the word? Don't know if it's the word, but I recognise now that the only love I needed was from myself.
Ah, boom! There you go, that.
But it's true. It's so true. So now I look at dates in a completely different way. In the past, I would go on a date and I would be shitting a brick.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, I'd be so concerned about what that person thought of me. Did they like me? What did I need to be for them to like me?
That's the bit.
What did I need to wear that I think that they might like?
So you would look at pictures of them and then form an idea in your mind of what kind of girl they would like and then show up as that perceived idea of the mind reading of what you think they like.
Exactly.
What Dawn should I be for them?
And even when I was there, I was tailoring the way I was in front of them to suit what I thought they wanted me to be.
Exactly.
And so I was never really dating as myself.
No.
I was dating of a version of myself that was an act.
Putting on a show. Was
put on for that
to be
particular
accepted.
person.
Yeah.
And then I wonder why they don't work out, because after a while you can't hold up
you can't keep it up.
You can't keep it up. You can't hold up that mask. And so when you start to become yourself and they're just like, that wasn't the person that I met, and it's just like, well, no, you're right, it wasn't.
It's so interesting though, isn't it? Because it's like we shared ages ago, I don't know where I would even find it, but there was a really, well, I say good but sad quote that was like, predominantly women with ADHD, it's a case of tell me who you want me to be, and I will do that for you. I'll be that person for you.
And like I said before, like before I got my diagnosis, I was everyone else.
Yes.
I was whatever I thought anyone else wanted me to be, rather than just being myself.
Whereas
and
now,
so I went on this date, and as I was getting ready for it, I thought to myself as I was getting dressed, I was like, oh, I maybe shouldn't wear this because I don't know if this will be too much for them or they'll like this.
Did you just say too much?
Too much. And then I wound my neck in a little bit and I said to myself, well, if it is too much for them, good.
They're not the one for me.
They're not the one for me.
Exactly.
So I went into it with a different mind frame, and I thought to myself, I'm going to wear what I want to wear and I'm going to be me. And instead of me giving two shits about what they thought of me,
if they
obviously
like you,
I want to make a good impression.
You're not going to turn up and be rude, but
exactly.
And
that I would be like that with anyone I meet, regardless if it's a date or not. I still want to be polite and nice to the person. But instead of me caring and, losing myself in them wanting me, it was more, am I going to like this person?
I like them?
What do I think of them?
Exactly.
And that's how I went in, and that's how I saw it, and had a nice time, but realised it wasn't for me, and said our goodbyes, and I had more fun in the car park afterwards trying to find my car.
But the funny thing is like from my end, I've never been on Tinder or anything like that.
You're still lucky.
Just because of timing.
Yeah.
I was in a relationship for a long time, somebody that I knew through other people, and then the next person I met, that was kind of instant, and that's that, And I do think that part of maybe the pressure of Valentine's Day or whatever is that I am this incredibly, we're going to use the phrase, hopeless romantic, because actually in the past it was very hopeless because it's not real. It's not being real. If you're suddenly, to the point of obsession, head over heels, and I do believe in love at first sight, and I have experienced that with my lovely husband. He's going to kill me for it. I'm not going to say anymore. And I can imagine I can imagine the eye rolls already of like, well, no, Laura, that's very ADHD, and that's not real, and it's not. But no, it is. It's absolutely real. I adore him, and we have done from the moment and evermore. But I know, and in the past, it was like not pretending that, but like convincing yourself of that. And again, as we talked about in the previous episode about relationships, was that it's about the good chemicals and it's about what we're lacking. It's about getting the dopamine, and it's not actually about that person. It's about how that person makes you feel.
Yes.
And that is two different things that have taken us a very long time to identify, but I can see clear as day now.
Which is why when it comes to me in relationships, I jump in Fanny first. Because I get that good feelings, I get the dopamine, I fall for the charmers, the ones that, can lure you in really quickly because they're making you feel good, the ones that love bomb you and just charm the literal pants off you.
So I've got a good quote here from Attitude. From love bombing to boredom, is ADHD to blame for the mercurial relationship cycles? Hyper-focus on a new relationship and partner, showering them with gifts and attention may be mistaken for love bombing, especially when the heat begins to cool. The cycle is not present in most relationships touched by ADHD, but it does impact a population of attitude readers, some of whom share their stories. Love bombing looks like this: flower deliveries at work, text messages at all hours, and talk of soulmates after just a few dates. But unlike the calculated manipulation that's part of the gaslighting cycle, which obviously we've touched on in the previous episode with Katie, when an infatuated adult with ADHD focuses 110% of their attention on a new partner, this obsession may be neurological rather than psychological. It may not be intentional love bombing at all. Could this relationship hyperfocus be fueled by the ADHD brain and its affinity for novelty, craving for stimulation, need to satisfy curiosity or rise to a challenge? Could their enthusiasm, there you go, have that one. Could their enthusiasm be mistaken for love bombing? Could it reflect low self-esteem and approval-seeking tendencies?
Absolutely.
The roots of hyperfocus and ADHD relationships are complex, but the end result is often clear. While some partners may feel smothered, many get swept away by the over-the-top adoration. Then when the obsessive love fades, or more commonly ends abruptly, the other partner feels abandoned and keenly bereft. It is an emotionally hurtful problem that impacts some, though not certainly all, adults with ADHD.
So that's so interesting, because I've been in a place where I've been love bombing. Well, no, I've been
love bombed.
I've been love bombed, but not from the ADHD side of things.
From the gaslighting
from the gaslighting narcissist side of things.
And as we've said, we are more prone to we are narcissist magnets.
Yeah, and obviously I fell for that hook, line and sinker. And I also am aware that I am a love bomber as well. And that's, I think, partly why sometimes I will scare people away.
Because you're all in.
Because I'm full in. If I like someone, I'm just like,
what are we doing?
Yeah, like, let's go for it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that, I don't know, I was going to say like need for affection, but that's not it. I don't need it. But like, especially when you're getting it, that the dopamine, you kind of, it is like you crave it because it's there and you want more. And I guess on the back of that, like something I have noticed, how I feel and how I think about relationships now is a lot differently, where in the past, like it was almost like this desperation, and like I have what did you call yourself?
Hopeless romantic.
A hopeless romantic, yeah. So I'm a hopeless romantic, 100%. And yeah, I think there was that kind of, especially with societal pressures and all your friends round about you getting settled down, there's a lot of pressure on you to find someone as well. And I think there was a bit of a desperation with me back then.
Yeah. To
find someone and to settle down. And then you get pulled into these toxic relationships and you think, well, I've got it. I don't want to lose it because I've got it now.
I think also there's a lot to be said for needing validation and how that can be used in a relationship. So, for example, let's use sex for as an example. Brené Brown says that, you know, she does all the stuff with shame, and she says that without a doubt, one of the main things that people she has worked with find to be the scariest thing they can think of is initiating sex with their partner. That's terrifying because the rejection would feel brutal.
Yeah.
And especially for us with RSD. But, you know, perhaps somebody is too tired, or they've eaten too much dinner, or any number of reasons why, or their head is so in work that they can't switch off and be in the moment, or whatever the hell it is. It doesn't necessarily mean a rejection of you, but I can definitely see in the past that you're kind of going, do you like me? 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 Like kind of all the time. All the time.
Need for validation.
Yeah. And so then that gets used in relationships quite a lot. And I guess in some ways, potentially almost in self-sabotage, because you've got this disbelief that they do, but then you can push them so far that then they're like, oh, this is too much fucking effort. No, I don't. See you later.
Exactly. You know? And I definitely in the past become codependent in relationships. Yeah. And it's only now when, you know, societal changes are happening and no longer are you made to feel as bad for being single. And where I am now is I don't have that same need as I had in the past, because I realised that it's not about just being with someone. It needs to be the right person.
Exactly. And you see it so often. I think that's why the Tinder thing, and I'm not slating anybody for using Tinder. I know I would be on it myself. It's just that I've seen a lot of people that are basically like auditioning somebody. It's like, I just want somebody.
Awful.
And that's the bit that I don't get.
Yeah.
And then people are settling. And then that just, it feels so unromantic and like you're just fulfilling a job role or something.
Yeah. And this is what I hate with modern day dating, is the whole internet thing. It's pretty much you're just window shopping.
Yeah.
And this is why when I date, I tend to try and initiate a coffee date or something fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Because I want to...
Well, not waste your time.
Yeah. I don't want to sit and have a pen pal.
No.
With a person that I actually don't like in person.
And a load of dick pics.
I'm like, please no, just stop, for God's sake. Like, I'm so over it. Like, the amount of penises I've seen in my life with that have been sent to me on my phone. That have been sent to me on my phone.
Approximately how many?
Yeah, let's not count. But the amount that I have been sent on my phone, and people trying to initiate the sex chat and all the rest of it. And I'm like, yeah, it might be fun for half an hour or whatever, but what's it actually going to do?
Yeah.
But what is now, and I've had people say to me in the past as well, like, maybe you should just lower your standards. And,
no!
And I think my standards are tighter than they've ever been.
Good.
Because if I'm going to be with someone, I want to be with the right person.
You have to protect
yourself. And I need to make sure that we have the same values.
Yes.
You know, I don't care if we have everything in common, but we need the same core values, because it's never going to work otherwise.
No.
So,
and you know that you're better off on your own than settling or in any kind of toxic relationship.
And that's the difference. Like, I do want a relationship.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stand here and say that I want to be on my own for the rest of my days, because I'd be lying. I want a relationship. However, I am happy on my own.
Yeah.
And I know that I don't need a relationship to be happy.
No.
It does not define me. And I think that's the biggest hurdle that I've overcome, is knowing that I'm all right on my own.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Have love from other areas.
Exactly. There are so many different kinds of love that are not going to take away from your life and that's the thing, is relationships, all kinds of relationships, they have to bring value. And that's not to say there won't be tough times.
Of course.
Everyone goes through tough times. But actually, you can't be sacrificing your happiness to have somebody else in your life. It's just, life is too short and it's not good enough, you know?
And at the end of the day, I know that me and my vibrator have the same values. Too much?
Too much. Never. But speaking of sex, I found this from BetterHelp. ADHD and sex. Can my love life be affected? ADHD is much better understood than it once was, but that doesn't make symptoms any easier to live with. Many changes occur in the brain for people that have ADHD, which cause them to act in ways they can't control and aren't happy with. The symptoms of ADHD and sex affect both partners in romantic and marriage relationships as well. ADHD can affect sexual behaviour as well as relationships, and it can affect it in several different and unexpected ways. What are the effects of ADHD on sexuality? The effects of ADHD on sexuality are highly individual and subjective, because obviously we are all individuals, making sexual symptoms difficult to measure. People who live with ADHD often struggle to keep their lives purposeful and orderly. The exhaustion that often accompanies ADHD leaves many individuals depleted of their energy. Many of the symptoms of ADHD have a subsequent and secondary negative effect on sexual interest and functioning, which can add to the stress which may already be present in a romantic or marriage relationship. Some symptoms can be severe enough to cause sexual dysfunction, but understanding how ADHD affects sexuality, both partners can more readily deal with the stress that it causes. Sexual symptoms of ADHD. The sexual symptoms that accompany ADHD generally fall into two separate categories: hypersexuality and hyposexuality.
Heard a lot of chat about that, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We've got a sex channel on our Discord in our community.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because there are literally two camps. Mm-hmm. And what started off was and we would never, what's in there is private, so we're not going to share anything. But what was interesting is that the first person who piped up wanted to talk about hyposexuality.
Yeah.
And that they obviously had the novelty at first, but then they just did not fancy it at all, etc. And then there was a lot of people that chipped in and said they experienced the same. So then, to play devil's advocate,
not pointing any fingers, but there's a couple of us that are
piped up and said, just in case anybody is feeling embarrassed to give the other sides, this is the other side. And then a whole nother camp chipped in, and it really was a very clear divide.
Yeah.
What was sad to notice is obviously if you're in a relationship and the two polar opposites of that, the problems that causes. So one person was talking about in their marriage that their partner is always up for it and they're not. And so then it becomes this bone of contention, not because they're trying to pressure them into having sex, but more the fact that this person feels guilty that they're constantly rejecting their partner, even though they love them, they just don't feel sexual towards them. On top of that, the medication can affect your sex drive because a lot of people are also on like depression meds and things like that, which can really affect your sex drive. And actually sexual dysfunction, or whatever you want to call it, can be part of that as well.
Yeah.
So we've got...
So can we just like normalise masturbation within relationships?
Yes, I think that is normalised, just perhaps not discussed.
Yeah. If you're not up for it and they are, then just do the ironing and let them crack one out.
Crack one out. Oh, God. So, hypersexuality.
The prefix hyper means excess or exaggeration. When we combine the prefix with sexuality, it means an unusually high sex drive. Sexual stimulation causes the brain to release endorphins, which send neurotransmitters into action. The brain then sends signals to the body to respond by giving it a sense of calm and relaxation, which relieves much of the feelings of restlessness that tend to accompany ADHD. This is why sexual intercourse or masturbation can help to relieve tension and stress. One of the symptoms of ADHD is impulsivity. Individuals that might give in to impulses of a sexual nature can cause additional problems with their personal or romantic relationships, like me. Sexual impulses can lead to risky behaviours such as sexual promiscuity, habitual desires for pornography, and desire for multiple sex partners or unprotected sex. People who live with ADHD are also at risk for substance use disorders, which can increase the chance of poor decision making and give in to sexual impulses and sexual risk-taking behaviour.
So it's interesting, like there's kind of two things going on there. So they're talking about the danger of the impulsivity aspect of it causing issues, but then kind of on the positive side, the hypersexuality can mean that you can switch your brain off, that you can relax, etc.
Yeah.
And I definitely relate to that in terms of actually being present. Like I've said, I can't even sit through a TV program because I'm thinking I should be doing this, I should be doing that. But obviously with yoga, let's use yoga as an example. It's about coming into the body and being in the present moment. So that coming out of the brain and going into the body. So from that aspect, I definitely see that in terms of sex.
Can pay attention whilst shagging.
And we go on. Hyposexuality. The prefix hypo refers to being underactive. By combining the prefix with sexuality, it means having difficulty achieving sexual arousal. Essentially, hyposexuality is the opposite of hypersexuality. Losing interest in sex can be a direct side effect of ADHD in some individuals. For those who take medication to treat ADHD, hyposexuality can be a side effect. This is particularly true for individuals that take antidepressants to treat their ADHD symptoms. People living with ADHD may experience irritability after orgasm. Oh, wow. And irritability may be accompanied by feelings of sadness or depression because the brain releases less dopamine at that time.
Oh, wow.
That's really interesting. Just as people living with ADHD may lose interest in other types of activities, they may also become distracted during sex, have trouble concentrating on the sensation, or lose interest in sex altogether. I just want to say one thing before you tell a really good story.
You know what's coming, don't you?
But I just want to point out that obviously, we're talking about sex because we're talking about sex, but there are individuals that are asexual altogether, and everything doesn't have to be about sex. It's just obviously with the idea of Valentine's Day and like a dirty weekend away or whatever, those kind of ideas of, oh, it's Valentine's Day, buy some fluffy handcuffs and a whip kind of thing.
You're going to get your one shag a year.
Yeah, we're talking about it, but we just want to note that is okay if you're not into sex at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't really, it's whatever works for you. We're just
Completely on
talking
the individual.
about our experiences and talking about ADHD as a whole. If you are finding this podcast helpful and you're in a position to do so, we are asking that you help us by signing up to our Patreon. In pledges starting at just £4 a month, it will give you access to our We Are ADHD AF community forum, in which we are both active members and we all support and learn from each other. You will also get access to behind-the-scenes content, exclusives, offers, blogs, vlogs, the works, everything in the kitchen sink. Your pledge will also mean that we will be able to continue to put out weekly episodes of ADHD as Females, the podcast.
Alternatively, if you would prefer just to make a donation, you can do so by visiting buymeacoffee.com/ADHD as Females. We know that our words are helping people in 164 countries and counting.
We really appreciate your support in supporting us to continue supporting the ADHD community.
If you are ADHD AF and you want more ADHD AF, join the We Are ADHD AF community. www.patreon.com/ADHD as Females.
Please tell your story, John.
Well, I was just going to say, on that note, losing interest in sex, it just reminds me of a time when I had a bit of a thing going on with a guy, just a casual thing, but we'd been at it for a good part of the evening, and it was getting light outside, and I was obviously losing interest at this point, and just turned round in the throes of passion and was like, "Oh look, the sun's coming up." And that was it.
That was that.
Yeah, which was good. So I was done.
We did hear another story of somebody that they'd planned like this romantic evening in and had bought a load of like sweets.
Yeah.
And they said that they were in the throes of it, and the partner got very upset as they reached for the bowl to put a sweet in their mouth.
Just imagine going like the clappers and then just like, "Oh, I'll have a wee after it." But yeah, I can understand that. So I guess like I can see both points of both sides, the hypo and the hyper. There's things in both of those camps that I can kind of
relate to. And the thing is as well, I think it's really important to note that prior to understanding our ADHD or even finding out that we were neurodivergent at all, we talked earlier about the performative element of it, wanting to people please. So I can definitely say that in previous relationships, it has been a bit of a show, and actually not in it for my own pleasure, but what's expected of me, and it's a show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I completely
and
relate
that's not
to that.
okay.
No,
that's not okay.
It's not, because you're there to get your rocks off.
And if you want to do it, then it should be about your pleasure as much as theirs. And if you don't want to do it, then that's absolutely fine too. And that's that.
Yeah.
End of.
And I think that's why my days of jumping in fanny first are far behind me.
Yes.
Just because if I'm going to do it with someone, I want to do it with someone where there's a connection.
Yeah.
Where I'm happy and comfortable to communicate with them.
Yeah.
About what they're doing, what I like, what they like.
Yeah.
Rather than just jumping in with some random who is pretty much in there to get their rocks off and doesn't give a shit about how much you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. So here's the good news.
Yeah.
Not only can we identify all of that business and are aware of red flags and all the rest of it, what we can also identify is that times they are a-changing.
They are, with the likes of Clementine Ford, who we had on the podcast already, and
Florence Given, the one and only.
The legend that is Florence Given, and
our absolute hero.
Yeah, total
and
hero.
And the thing is, if you've not read Women Don't Owe You Pretty, then you need to go and do that immediately. And if you're somebody that struggles to concentrate on actually reading words on a page, she does a audiobook as well.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I can honestly say this with my hand on my heart. If that book had come out when I was 13, 14 years old, I would have been a different woman. I would have had a different life. It's taken me this long and awful experiences and failed relationships to get to a place where I know that I'm in the relationship that I'm in because they make me happy and I make them happy. We enhance each other's lives. We encourage each other. We support each other. We trust each other.
Yeah.
And if any of those elements weren't there, I'd be on the next plane to Ibiza. See you later. As simple as that. Like,
exactly.
It really is that simple. I'm making a decision to be there because that person makes me happy. And yeah, I can see that I could be equally happy in a different way if we weren't, you know, as I said, enhancing each other's lives.
Yeah. And that's it. And I did a little bit of reading on attachment styles and stuff after a toxic relationship. And it was saying to be in a happy relationship, you need to ensure that your needs are being met.
Yeah.
Whilst you're meeting the needs of your
Yes.
partner. If at any point you're only getting your needs met and you're not meeting them, then there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Likewise, if you're sacrificing your own needs
Yeah.
for that other person,
Yeah.
there's something wrong.
Like, because obviously all relationships are about compromise.
Yeah.
But there are non-negotiables and there are things that you cannot compromise. And that's what we have to strive for, is the balance. Like Katie said, that neurodivergence can end up being an imbalanced relationship where the power is in the other person's hand, or there's this codependency, or one is always the scapegoat that feels like they're lucky to just be tagging along. And that's not okay. So it's really wonderful to have voices out there like Florence, like Clementine. You know, Clementine talks a lot about the household chore division and things like that, and how it still falls on the woman to do more around the house. Statistically speaking, I'm quoting Clementine here. This is not my opinion. It's what she talks about. And that even women that are going out to work, they're still supposed to carry all of this extra stuff. So to do more in the home, to do more with the children, and to earn the money.
Yeah.
And what she talks about, that I think her current profile picture is leave your husband.
Yeah.
And obviously
She doesn't mean that everybody should leave their husband, but her point is, if you're not happy, don't stay in that relationship.
Because and it's like Florence Given says, stop raising him, he's not your son. It's exactly that. It's just like, obviously we're talking about this in this imbalanced way where men are taking the piss and women aren't. Like, we know that that's not the case. We're just giving these two women's advice as examples of an imbalance. And actually you would be happier, you know, living to your own standards and looking after yourself than you would be being a caregiver to somebody that isn't meeting your needs, etc.
It doesn't matter whether you're a man with a man, a woman with a woman, a man with a boat.
And anybody...
Don't know where that came
any
from.
gender, any kind of relationship, you know, it really doesn't matter. But it's just about actually communication, having your needs met, and knowing that you are better off not giving in to this Valentine's bullshit.
Yeah.
And taking
This
a leave out.
Valentine's, buy yourself a card and...
I thought you were going to say my face.
Well, I was going to say buy yourself a card and get your own rocks off.
But those ones by Lily Allen do look really nice. You see that? The pink and orange Lily
Sort of
Allen.
like sucky
sucker
ones.
thing,
Yeah,
sucker one.
I'm interested in that.
Do you know about them?
No, but I need to.
I don't either.
I need to.
Yes. Anyway.
I need to get
Should
on
we shut
that.
up?
Get on that self-love revolution.
Absolutely.
Taking things literally in the self-love revolution. Anyway, yes, we should probably move on.
Moving on swiftly. So, Dawny, what is the most ADHD thing you've done this week?
Oh, I actually don't know. God, you go, because I don't know. I need to think about this for a
Mine has
second.
been work hyperfocus. I am absolutely determined, like my life depended on it, that we will have the tickets out for the Too Much tour by the end of the week. And I have done nothing else. We get up and we get on our body doubling in the morning at 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we've had everything going on from the debate, which we talked about in the previous Activism Extra with Kat Owens. And it's just been non-stop. The emails, venues, etc., coming backwards and forwards like I'm just playing ping pong all day, every day, and then not getting into my bed. That reel took me 3.5 hours. And anybody else would have just given up.
I know.
But I was just like, no, this has to happen. So I sat there for 3.5 hours, made a reel. I eventually went to bed at midnight. So that's 7 a.m. until midnight. I ate my dinner whilst looking at it, you know. And then,
Absolute machine.
last night was the same. It's about 10 o'clock. So that's 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. And then this morning when we got up to do the body doubling, you said, oh, we should go outside because the sun's rising. And I came outside, and that's when it dawned on me is that I hadn't left the house for days.
Yeah.
I was wearing the same jumper and jogging bottoms that I'd had on for days. And
Is that the same jumper you're wearing now?
No, it's not, thank you. I put on a fresh jumper. But yeah, no, like I literally did one of them. Full hyper focus, not leave the house. All that matters is the work and nothing else. And I do not exist and nothing else exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a machine.
So thank you for reminding me to leave the house.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. So hopefully, if we don't have tickets already on sale for up and coming shows,
they will be, because it'll be Tuesday.
Yeah, they probably will be. But if we don't, then they're coming soon. And if we do, go buy them.
Go buy them.
Yeah, I think actually my most ADHD thing was at the weekend. I was down in Edinburgh visiting a friend, and we'd been out on the Friday night, and on the Saturday we were just having takeaway and wine in the house. And she's like, do you want to do a jigsaw? And I've not done a jigsaw in years, but my mum loves a jigsaw.
Yes, I remember you saying.
And I enjoy a jigsaw, and I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, let's get one out. So she picked up this jigsaw on puppies from the charity shop, and we sat down.
She just randomly said, shall we do a jigsaw?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, but you know what? It was the best thing ever, because sitting, drinking wine, you can focus on the jigsaw, which allows you to then be able to have a conversation. So this is how my brain works when I watch TV. I'll play a game on my phone.
Yes, because I can watch TV. Things. Yeah,
and
that
so
makes sense.
Making the jigsaw, we had the best chat, the best conversation, and I was in the conversation rather than getting distracted and stuff. So anyway, we sat and did this jigsaw. I even ate my curry with the jigsaw underneath it because and there was other people there. There was like 6 of us around the table, and I'm just sat with this jigsaw in front of me because I was like, you're not putting the jigsaw away to eat dinner.
It's done.
I'm like, it's staying here. So I stayed up late doing the jigsaw, got up in the morning, started doing the jigsaw as soon as I was up. I was supposed to leave hers at around 10 a.m. Didn't get back to Aberdeen until 6 p.m. because I didn't want to leave because I was just so hyper focused on this bloody jigsaw. So it was maybe a rabbit hole, maybe a bit ADHD AF, but I also forgot to take my meds on Sunday as a result because I was just honed in on this bloody jigsaw.
So never mind the vibrator, get doing a jigsaw. That's all you need, jigsaw. I
easily pleased.
Tell you now, I could not think of anything worse. I can tell you now, I probably haven't done a jigsaw since I was 5.
Oh, wow.
When they were big pieces. I've had many people in life tell me that jigsaws are brilliant. I've just been like, no, I would rather stick forks in my eyes.
I love a bloody jigsaw.
No.
It's quite funny because my mate had said, she's like, well, maybe should have taken out the 24-piece Disney one instead of this 1,000-piece jigsaw. But big news, we didn't finish it.
Oh my God.
I left and it was unfinished because I had to get back up the road. But
Honestly,
she sent me a picture.
Envisage this.
She sent me a picture of it completed with 10 pieces missing.
So they didn't even have enough pieces. Oh, well, thank God you didn't. Can you imagine?
I know. I'd have been making them.
I can't do anything like that. Do you know what I hate? Monopoly.
I love Monopoly.
Oh my God. It just goes on and I literally don't care enough. I don't give a shit. Have the money. I'll go to jail. I could not give a fuck. Leave me alone. I hate it.
I quite like a game of Monopoly, but only when I'm winning. Like I'm not up for losing.
But that's what I got accused of one Christmas. Was like, you're just bored now because you're not winning. I'm like, I literally couldn't give a shit.
Oh yeah, no, I would 100% get bored if I wasn't winning. I'd be like, yeah, I'm not.
Deal with it.
And there needs to be the competition.
Yeah.
Love a bit of healthy competitiveness.
Well, that's like you with the turf today. Well, that's your rabbit hole.
That's my rabbit hole.
Yeah, so we only went for a walk because Dawn wanted to get the turf off her mate.
So there's this.
Which sounds like a drug deal, but it isn't.
You stepping on my turf. So there's this app called Turf. Download it now.
Or not.
Maybe sponsor us. And it's really geeky and I don't care. And basically, it's like Pokemon Go, but for adults. So you walk around and there's areas and you have to stand in the area to claim that spot of turf. And then once you've got that spot of turf, it's yours. And it's yours until someone else claims it. And the more turfs you get, the more points you get. The longer you hold on to a turf, the more points you get.
But how does it end?
Every month it resets. So like it's
You're
like a
the winner of that month.
Yeah, and so there's different leagues like in Scotland, in the world,
Bloody hell.
And you can use external. Like this is where it gets really geeky. Is you can download your data into external and start leagues with people that you know and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So I'm involved in a wee external league.
But it's not about the fact that it's giving you exercise. Is that part of it?
That's the whole kind of premise behind it, is like it's to get you out walking.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the sweetest thing, when I was on the other day, it shows you who else is online doing it, and there was two, and you can see the two little dots together, and there was one called Boy, and beside him, these guys obviously out together, was someone called Boy's dad.
Oh, cute.
And I'm like, that's such a sweet thing for like a parent and child to be doing.
Lovely.
And so yeah, in fact, I shouldn't have probably given away.
Mercilessly stole Boy's dad.
Yeah, so sorry. I shouldn't be giving away Boy's name, but so anyway. So yeah, I'm going out stealing this kid's turf. But anyway, it's a reason for you to get out and go walking. It's a little bit of competition that makes it, gives you a reason to go out and do it.
Yeah.
But I'm rubbish at it compared to everyone else I know. I just don't have time. I don't have time to be going out walking and going on big walks and stealing all these turf. So I'm literally, I drive home and I'm like, I'll get the one beside the house, or I'll get the one at uni. And I'm like, yeah, if I get a couple, that's fine. But that has definitely been my rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm. Mine has been, what shall we do for Valentine's Day?
Okay.
And I've been on it since the middle of last month.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're in February now, aren't we? Yeah, middle of last month. And I'm normally really, really good at it and pick something really nice to do. Last year we went to a really nice place. I can't even remember where it was, but they had like a deal with a room, and it was just a really beautiful, like kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, like old country hotel somewhere with like a brewery or, oh no, it was like a whiskey place or something. Can't remember. Anyway.
Sounds lovely.
But this year, I just have gone down the rabbit hole, explored every eventuality and come out the other end going, it can't be fucked. I actually can't. Like I really can't, because it's just such a rip-off.
Yeah.
We had a table booked, I won't name and shame, but it was like, I can't remember how much, but it was 3 courses, right? And I was like, okay, it's a bit expensive, but it's a nice thing. And it's Valentine's, and we don't go out. I can wear my heart-shaped coat. Everyone's a winner. And then they sent through the menu because they wanted a deposit. And I was like, well, can I see the set menu before I give you my money? And every single thing on it was a supplement charge. So that's not, like, it's okay if you have, like, one thing.
Yeah.
It's like a supplement charge.
Like, put a steak on, chuck your supplement charge on that.
Every single one of those is a supplement charge. Well, that's not 3 courses for whatever it was it? And I just thought, do you know what? You can fuck off, actually. And last Valentine's Day and the Valentine's Day before, I gave into it all and then came away feeling, I don't know, whatever it is, disappointed or whatever it is. So, like, why am I doing it? So I'm rebelling. I mean, obviously, I'm still going to get a card. But, like, actually, I might just go to M&S and get some of those heart-shaped bloody crumpets. You know what I mean?
Why the hell
like,
not?
they're great. They do heart-shaped sausages. They do all the novelty things so that I can get all excited and geeky about it and throw a little heart-shaped party.
And not spend
But actually not spend hundreds of pounds to be ripped off, to come away like, did we do Valentine's right?
Yeah.
Did we get a gold star for it? It's all nonsense, isn't it? And we are going away at the weekend after that anyway. So, yeah,
I'll probably just be at home with the cats, eating Dreamies with them.
Heart-shaped sausages and crumpets.
I did eat Dreamies one Valentine's Day.
No!
I was with my flatmate in my old flat, and he was sat, and we were both feeling sorry for ourselves, I think, on Valentine's Day, so we were having a wee drink. And I was just like, I might as well just, get with the cats, like, that's my love life, know, feeling very woe me. And he was like, eat a Dreamy, then you can be at one with the cats. And I was like, okay. So I ate a Dreamy, and yeah.
Oh, that's
best
gross.
Valentine's Day ever.
Oh, that's gross. So
we have not spoken about any listeners' rabbit holes and ADHD things, so
let's do that. I've got a really good most ADHD thing from a listener who is just, and it's comedy gold. It's like funny in itself, and then it's backed up by another follower. So this person says, went to work with 2 bras on, which is brilliant in itself.
2 bras? How? I mean, there was a point in my life where I wore 2 bras because the bras that I owned were so shit that I needed them for support, but not by accident.
Well, she obviously did a little zone out after putting the first one on. So went to work with 2 bras on, and then somebody has commented, so much support though. It's a comedy gold. Thank you for that. That made our day.
Love it. And a rabbit hole. My rabbit hole this week has been 1, the Discord forum.
Yeah.
And 2, hunting down every crush I had from school to see where they are now. At 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, but that's definitely a 3 a.m. task. I always do that. If I'm awake at stupid o'clock in the morning, it'll be like, I wonder how so-and-so is, and then you go and have a look. This one Your announcement of the Too Much tour made me want to join the leopard print army, which reminded me of how much I loved leopard prints when I was younger. But now I don't have any clothes with it. So instead of booking an appointment to renew my travel passport for actually being physically able to join your Too Much tour or looking for flights, I went on Vinted, doom-scrolled leopard print clothing for 4 hours straight, and now I have about 35 pieces on my wish list. Kept me awake until 3 o'clock in the morning. Still didn't buy anything, but didn't get anything else done either.
I love that.
So
that's exciting though. Get your travel passport sorted.
Yes. So we do have people travelling for the Too Much tour, which is very, very exciting. As we said before, the Aberdeen event, which is taking place on the 4th of
March. So it's like only a few weeks away.
3 till 7. Is extra AF, and we have some amazing people joining us.
Yeah.
And we will talk about that more very, very soon.
Yes.
Tickets are going, and the venue is incredible, and we are super excited. And we will be basically doing the podcast in show form, but we're not recording a podcast. Nothing will be recorded. So we're really super excited about it. We would love you all to wear leopard print, even if it's just one little thing, but obviously you don't have to. And we will be putting out some more information in a bonus blether very, very soon.
Yes.
And we are very excited to announce the rest of the tour. And I have to say, I am particularly excited about the Manchester venue. In theory, all of our Too Much tour tickets will be on sale by the time you hear this, and you will be able to access them via the link in our bio.
Get on the link in our bio,
yeah.
And see what's already
and
out.
We will have special guests from the podcast at each event. Mm-hmm. There will be time to chat to each other and chat to us, and we will be putting on a bit of a show, and it's going to be fun, and I'm reluctant to say the word informative, but it will be like this podcast.
I mean, it will be informative of
our experiences.
About us and our experiences, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And we just want to say a massive thank you. Like, honestly, as ever, we really don't know who the hell we think we are. Yeah. And I think that it is such a blessing that we're as busy as we are. I always sound like I'm whinging, and I'm not. It's not that I love everything that we're doing. It's just that I struggle to switch off. And that's my problem. My what is it? My fast car of a brain doesn't have brakes.
Yes.
So that's the only issue for me.
Ferrari for a brain, but bicycle for brakes.
Yeah. So the issue is that's from ADHD 2.0. Isn't
it?
From
the book.
So the issue is, like everything that we're doing, we love doing. It's just that if I could switch my brain off and get a good night's sleep and be able to put it down at the weekend, or put it down enough to watch TV or watch a film, I would be like a pig in shit. But it's just that it is all consuming. But that's a good thing in one way, because I feel like if at any point we had a moment to think straight, we would talk ourselves out of this.
Well, exactly.
Because it's absolutely ridiculous what we're doing.
I was speaking to someone today about this, and they were saying, oh, you're doing how many dates and
it's 16,
where?
16, isn't it? Or 17 included.
Yeah.
Or maybe 15 or 16.
And they're like, are you going to be able to do that? It's not a long time. Like, it's a short period of time that you're doing this, and it's just like, well,
Fanny first.
I'm like, if we didn't have the dates booked, it would take longer. Whereas this is forcing us into action.
And also not giving us time to worry about it. It's just crack on. And
we have these dates, we have to do it.
This is what we're going to do.
We'll see you there.
And we'll see you there, and we can't wait to see you there. So thank you to everyone who has bought tickets already.
Yes.
And thank you for your support, and we can't wait to meet you. Thank you to everyone who's joined our community.
And lots of sneak peeks in the community as well.
There's behind the scenes in the community, as well as all of our live blethers, etc.
Yes. And I was going to add just a little takeaway from today's chat is that, there's conversations about sex and relationships and stuff within the community. And like we say, we're not going to broadcast that anywhere. But if you're tempted to join the community and you want to talk about these things, you make up a username for Discord.
Yeah.
You do not
it's anonymous, effectively.
You do not need to tell people who you are.
Yeah.
So if you want to come in there and talk about stuff, but you're scared that someone's going to know who you are or find out, you don't have to worry, because Discord is a username, whatever username you want, and you can tell people as little or as much about yourself as you desire.
Yes.
So it's a safe space.
And we all support each other because we're all in it together. And that's the thing. It is such, especially as late diagnosed people with ADHD, this is such a bizarre and unique experience, life-changing experience that we all share. So really, even though it presents differently in all of us, etc., and we've had slightly different versions of getting on that journey, everybody there gets it.
Yeah.
And as somebody, I'm only going to speak from my own experience, who has never felt like anybody has ever got them and is a complete alien, to be understood and to realise that you're part of, yes, we are aliens, but our own planet and part of this community, that is actually reinforced every day, any moment that you want to, when you can't sleep, when you wake up early, when you're upset, to be able to talk to people that get it and are going through similar is just the most magical thing in the world ever.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So thank you to everyone who's got behind us, and thank you to anyone who's donated coffees, anyone who has put a review on Spotify or Apple. We've reached over 1,000 Spotify reviews.
I know, it's wild.
It's absolutely insane, and we are so grateful. And yeah, just big love to all of you. And I feel like I've been talking forever, but you know, send yourself some love this Valentine's.
Yes.
We appreciate you. We love you. And we are all in this crazy ride of intensity together, supporting each other.
And if you're struggling to send yourself love, take some of ours, because we're giving it to you.
We're giving it to you.
Yeah.
That sounded a bit wrong. Should we go?
Okay, love you lots. Bye.
ADHD as females. ADHD